It's Computex 2025, and that means it's time to take a look at all the new technology that's coming this year. MPG, MAG, MEG. MAG is the highest end thing that MSI has, and they're certainly showing that off with the OLED display. This is the 322 URX QD OLED, 4K, UHD, 240 Hertz, G-Sync compatible, DisplayPort 2.1, UHBR20, 80 gigabits of bandwidth. But here's the sort of fun thing. They've got the AI robot. You can just talk to your computer and tell it to adjust the screen brightness. And it does. Now we'll turn it up to 100%. So you can also control that through the touchscreen. The touchscreen does show up as an extra display. And so, you can run Task Manager or whatever over on there, or turn this off so that it's, you get your full start menu kind of a thing. But this is a full MEG Vision X AI. They're going to let you download the AI robot software and run it on other hardware later this year, but it comes bundled on this gaming PC. As equipped, this is a Core Ultra 285K with an RTX 5090, and it's doing the large language model stuff on the 5090 right now, but eventually they hope that they'll be able to use the NPU in the Intel processor and be able to run this kind of stuff. You can also do document summaries and game helping and that sort of stuff, but it's the MSI AI robot on their highest end gaming PC. So this is sort of fun if you want to set your fan curves or adjust parameters of the system and really dial it in and you're not really sure what the settings are. The AI will teach you how to change the settings in the system so that you can control it. Okay, so this is the MPG 271 QR QD OLED X50. OLEDs are really exciting monitor technology, and I'm really impressed by the QD OLED. This is 500 Hertz, 2560 by 1440. And it really is like butter for your eyes. It's so awesome. So what MSI has added to this to try to make the display last a little longer is a camera. And so when you move away from the display, it turns off immediately. There's no screensaver, there's no waiting for the display to time out. The display goes to sleep immediately. That also lets it do a pixel refresh much more quickly. Now, this is actually controllable from Windows. And so if I block the sensor and it thinks that I've gone away, it's going to put the display to sleep. This also works with Windows. This is Windows presence sensing, but it'll also work with Linux. So in the on-screen display, so in AI Care active mode, and then in monitor mode, the monitor is going to do the work instead of the operating system. So that's good to see. Because if I use Linux, I'm not going to have all the Windows stuff, and it would still be nice to extend the lifetime of the OLED display. It's a 3-year warranty, and that includes burn-in. So if you have pixels that are burned in or some bad situation with the pixels, that's going to be covered under warranty. 500 Hertz, 2560 by 1440, display HDR 500, 2 black, clear MR 21,000. So, and this is not the highest end monitor that MSI has. This is 2560 by 1440. Do we know what the MSRP is going to be? Pricing?
Pricing? $899.
$899.
Yes.
So, it's not bad for an OLED. So MSI is leaning hard into QD OLED displays, and this is MAG, which is usually their more affordable line, but around $600, 2560 by 1440, 280 Hertz, pretty reasonable color depth, and in a white configuration, white plastic. It still has a 3-year warranty, including for burn-in, and they've got a demo panel here that's been running for, 524 days and a couple of hours, and they're showing what they've been doing for stress testing their QD OLED displays, which is why they're doing the 3-year warranty, including with burn-in. There's a lot of features in the OSD for logo detection and taskbar detection and software strategies to kind of mitigate that. And of course, everything's labeled AI, but it really is just handled algorithmically. This one is one of the few that's not QD OLED. It is a rapid IPS, 160 Hertz at 4K and 320 Hertz at full HD. So that's 320 Hertz at 1080p, basically. This is 99% DCI P3. It's a much better color coverage, much better color accuracy. So it's a professional monitor, professional-ish monitor that can also do gaming. This is also Visa certified display HDR 1000. And this is also the first mini LED monitor from MSI. So there's a lot of firsts in this monitor 4K if you're not ready to hop on the QD OLED or the OLED bandwagon. OLED is so nice. This is also something new from MSI. 600 hertz, TN. It's a new panel. It's a new panel type. We might have seen that somewhere before. 24.1 inch, rapid TN, 600 hertz at 1080p, and 0.1 milliseconds gray to gray. So I decided to run this test because 600 hertz. And you're overdriving the panel. There's a little bit of an overclock with that. But if we look at this on the high-speed footage, we can see that there's no after image in this UFO test. And that's very, very impressive because some of the other panels that I've seen have a little trouble driving 600 hertz with clarity. But it seems like MSI's got no problems here. We really need to do more testing for input latency and that sort of thing. This is aimed at like the professional gaming series, and the MSRP on this is going to be $999 US. But this is a really impressive result for a TN panel. So MSI is expanding their ambitions in the NUC and the mini PC sort of game. They've noticed that businesses are really interested in these, and so they're upping the build quality and upping the warranty and upping the features that businesses look for, let's say. And so this is a QB NUC AI Plus 2M with Copilot. It's an NPU. This is an Intel-based solution. Thunderbolt 4, it has USB 2 ports at the back, dual 2.5 gig LAN, another Thunderbolt 4 HDMI, and DC. You got your wireless card, your standard 2280 M.2. Why are there floating balls behind me? This fan is the Frozer AI Pro. Yeah, it's an AI fan. I don't know. It's a fan that can keep the AI cool. Why is everything, literally everything has an AI label? When it kicks on, you can see that it moves more air more quickly than a previous gen fan on the other side. And there's a couple of different configurations here. They have a smaller version of the QB and they have a larger version of the QB, just depending on what your needs are. And if your business needs don't fit with the QB NUC AI Plus, well, they also have small form factor business desktops. Let's take a look at those. These are the Pro DP line, from DP21 to DP180. They're business class mini PCs, basically. Standard power supply, Intel socket. So this is up to a Core i7-14700. The 13th and 14th gen is still really popular here at Computex from Intel. Now the Core Ultra is in the DP180. The DP180 looks more like a standard business class desktop. It's a little larger, a little more expandable. You can put a dedicated GPU in there. Maybe the new Intel, like the B50, the B60, the Pro Arc GPUs. That's something you could run in this kind of a system. It's not really made for gaming GPUs. It's more like the professional workload stuff. But that's what we have here with like the DP180. So this is a Core Ultra 7 265 with an NPU. It's an 18-liter chassis. You can get it with up to an RTX 5070. Has 4 DIMM slots, dual LAN, and it has an optical drive. An optical drive. I mean, you could probably use that in your home theater, but this is really meant to be business class. This is the MSI Edge Expert MSC 931. This is DGX Spark. This is Nvidia. Again, the theme this year is who are you and what are you selling for Nvidia? Or how are you furthering Nvidia's mission? This is how MSI is furthering Nvidia's mission in a lot of ways. This is DGX Spark. And yeah, I can confirm dual QSFP slots. This is 128 gigs of LPDDR5. In this tiny little platform, Jensen really wants you to be able to run large models on this thing with 4 terabytes of local storage and 128 gigabytes of memory. This is sort of nuts. I don't really care for that, we've got power delivery in, we've got all of these 4 40 gigabit USB Type-C ports, and one of them is power delivery in. But I want a separate power port because I need all of this connectivity. We also have 10 gigabit RJ45. And this is a tiny, like suspiciously tiny package. And there's 2 of them here, which is sort of nuts. So it's a lot of fun to see third parties implementing the Spark platform from Nvidia. And this one from MSI looks really nice. So how fast is that QSFP port? 200 gigabit, and there's 2 of them. So 200 gigabits. Now I asked about building a 3-node cluster with 3 directly connected nodes, and they say up to Nvidia. we can do it, chat. Let's get together in the forum and just do it anyway. Because I mean, it's ConnectX 7, right? So you can just plug this in, run the DAC, 200 gigabit. We can get it done. This is the other part of MSI, data center and enterprise, like true enterprise stuff. Believe it or not, this rack, the standard 19-inch EIA rack, is normal infrastructure. There's not a ton of GPUs here. It's not using 600 kilowatts or 120 kilowatts or anything like that. It's a standard configuration. It's got a 17.3 kilowatt PDU, a 48 port, 25 gig SFP28 switch, and then a bunch of 2U servers. Like, this is a standard rack, and this is nice to see here that it's like, hey, MSI Enterprise, we're not doing anything completely over the top crazy. This is like what you would find in a normal data center in a standard 19-inch width with good cable management and good power management at the back. You might have heard about the 21-inch racks. This one is a little more ambitious. It is configured for 33 kilowatts. It's a little wider. You've got a little bit more room for cabling and power management. But again, it's got 2 systems per row. That's the MSI Open Compute 20U2N CD20 or CD281 S4051X2 series, and DC 48 volt configuration looks like. So this is an Open Compute. This is ORB3. This is the change to 48 volts. This is the power converter for 48 volts DC in to a 12 volt configuration. This is not a normal rack unit. They're a little taller, and like I say, 21 inches. Everything is built for rails from the ground up. So it's a little different physically, but this is the Open Compute standard. So if you have a data center that depends on Open Compute, well, this is what it looks like. But there's our familiar EPIC socket and DDR5 and PCIe lane breakouts, but DC 48 volt power delivery.
Yeah.
So this is MSI CG481. We heard yesterday from Nvidia in their keynote about ConnectX 8. I don't think they referred to it as ConnectX 8, but that is actually PCIe Gen 6, and these are the new cards. The RTX Pro 6000 in this configuration, also Gen 6. This is a Gen 6 crossbar on the interface card. So the bottom board here has everything built in. Instead of having separate ConnectX discrete NICs, it's built in here, and instead of having to have a PCI Express switch or something like that that's separate, it's all built into the platform. So every GPU can talk to every other GPU at full speed. And this is 800 gigabits out of the chassis for every GPU. I also noticed these 2 boards. So you get the D3052. This is just a BIOS refresh on what we saw last year, but this is the EPIC board from MSI. So you can run Ryzen 9000 desktop series with a BIOS refresh, as well as the new EPIC CPUs. 4 DDR5 UDIMM slots. You've got some nice PCIe connectivity, M.2, and a pretty good mix of SATA and other I/O on this with onboard 10 gig, SFP plus 10 gig, 25, SFP 28.
Yeah, SFP 28, so it's got 25 gig, and this one has RJ45 10 gig.
10 gig, okay.
Yeah.
And you got a LVDS.
That is going to be the NIC, and it's going to be the Intel X710.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. NCSI. Yeah, okay.
So you can do, because it's got a dedicated IPMI port, but if you want to do shared IPMI in one cable,
yeah.
So like VLAN tag or whatever, you can do it on one of those.
Yeah, the NCSI interface. That's awesome. Dual 25 gig on the D3052 SFP28 interface there. That is powered by the Intel E810. I know some of you in the audience will not buy a motherboard that has onboard Broadcom. There you go. It's E810 25 gig. There's also the D3051, has dual RJ45 10 gig, if that's more your speed. It's a very similar board layout. It's not quite the same, but be sure to check that out if you're building systems based around the new EPIC. Well, that's been a quick look at MSI Computex. I've got a lot more to cover at Computex. Be sure to check out our other videos. And I should have a QB NUC here in the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to take a much closer look at that platform. So stay tuned for that. And keep an eye out for our other Computex video. Thanks for watching.